Welcome back, everybody, to We Are TPM with myself, Kyle Teixeira, sitting next to John Teixeira once again. We are welcoming our guest, Will Ripley, today to discuss his investor journey. Thank you for coming in, Will.
Thanks. Yeah, good. Glad to be here.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, want to talk more about this discussion, don't call us. But if you do, give us a call, 817-818-9039. Shoot us an email at showmethemoney@wearetpm.com. Let's get into it. Will, who are you? What are we talking about here?
Why are you here, Will?
Well, I came across you guys on just a simple Google search. Before that, for about 8-9 years, I was managing my own rental properties. It's an interesting story. I almost got thrown in jail.
All right, I can't wait to hear
This
this.
was how we met.
Yeah. So, I have this property over there. It's in Waxahachie, single family, and oh my goodness, you should have seen this place. I did a lot of the cleanup myself, and there were a bunch of hoarders. And
Starting with the horror stories.
yeah, I know. It was so bad. It was, you walk in this place, and the first smell is like someone made a baseball bat out of cat piss and hit you in the face with it. It's pretty much what it was like. So I went in there.
You get
It was
some
so bad.
plugins.
Huh?
That's
Well,
okay. Just kidding.
probably should have. No, but so I went in there and anyways, completely. I mean, I think I filled up, 8 or 9 trash bags full of used kitty litter from the garage alone. Yeah, it was so bad.
Wow.
So anyway, no, I did a lot of it, and one of the workers wanted to keep the fridge, and so I kind of held on to it. And the deal was they would clean out the fridge, and then they backed out of the deal, and so. All of my garbage stuff had already moved on, and I was done with that process. And then they decided they didn't want the fridge anymore. I'm like, crap, last minute, I have to clean out the fridge. So I clean out the fridge, I fill up the trash can, and my tenants, they're moving in. And they're like, hey, I don't want that nasty crap in front of me. Can you just, And of course, my neighbor, I went to try to talk to my neighbor. He wasn't home. And I had talked to him previously. He said, no, the house is vacant. It was my mom's. I haven't put it up for sale, but it's vacant.
Okay.
And I was going to ask him, but he wasn't home. So I just kind of wheeled the trash can in front of his property, right? Because trash was the next day.
Yeah.
Well, he got so mad, he called the cops on me. And he tried to charge me for illegal dumping and try to get me thrown in jail.
Wow.
Anyway, he's kind of a jerk because I tried to explain, look, man, I'll wheel it back. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll wheel it back. And he was like, no, you committed a crime. And I'm like, fine.
What you just described sounds like the most criminal thing I've ever heard in my life. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
so,
being
of course.
sarcastic.
Oh, I know. Yeah, right.
So this is the incident that brought you to us.
Yeah, so it scared the crap out of me, right?
Mhm.
Because literally, detective showed up, called me. It's like, you don't know what you did. And then finally he talked the guy down into just littering. So I paid a littering fine, which I was glad to pay.
Mm-hmm.
It's much better than the alternative. So scared the crap out of me. I don't like being put in that situation. And it's funny because I had been managing for, 7, 8, 9 years before that. This is the first time I had like that close of a run-in. So I just realized like, man, I was kind of already overloaded because I'm doing the books, I'm keeping the books, data entry for my wife's business. So I was really stretched then. So
Yeah.
it's like, I should probably call somebody. So I think I called 4 different companies, kind of interviewed all of you guys, and you guys were kind of the best. Not kind of, from kind of what I saw.
Okay.
Well, we
So that led
appreciate
me to
that.
you guys.
It's always an interesting story. I've clocked that story as an interesting example if I ever need to use it. And small things can lead to big problems,
Yeah,
right?
they certainly can.
You've proven that. That is a very unlikely scenario, I would say. But sometimes it just takes one person pushing some, I guess, against the law or trying to enforce something a little too strictly. So
Yeah, real draconian. Yeah.
Hey, Jared, so I'm curious, what got you? I'm curious, what tell us about your first foray into investing. How did you start with your first investment property and why?
It's a long story. So,
I don't know how long we have on this podcast.
Yeah,
How long
I
we
know,
got,
right?
Kyle?
let's put it in perspective. You start with one. What got you? Where are you today? So
I have,
we
I'm up
can
to 12.
Fill it in the blanks.
yeah, I'm up
12.
to 12 single family rentals.
Okay.
And, and the good thing is they're all local because I was managing myself. So,
Yeah.
10 in Waxahachie, 1 in Ennis, one in Midlothian. But what got me into it was a best friend. Talking to him, he manages apartment complexes in Cape Cod, and he's got Longboat Key, Florida. He migrates with the weather. He's doing pretty well. But no, he kind of got me into it, and I was interested. And so he kind of gave me a nudge, and I just started reading. And my very first real estate transaction was an owner finance deal where I just did an 8% loan to a really nice Peruvian family, and it went really well. I mean, they'd never missed a payment, and we were able to get them refinanced, and I got the note paid back. And I was like, you know what? Let me try flipping a house. So I
that
tried.
Was the house you lived in. That was the house you lived in that you ended up owner financing to?
No, this was just a house. I helped them buy a house because they couldn't qualify because she had a green card and they just had really bad credit. But she had a really good job, and they couldn't get financing anywhere else. So I just kind of helped them out.
So you started being a creative financing lender, essentially.
Yeah,
that's an interesting
so I did
start.
Yeah, so I started doing that, and then I did the same thing for my cousin, helping them out because it's family. You help family,
Mm-hmm.
And then I went into flipping houses. I was like, man, maybe I could buy, and that was 2015. When you could really get good deals, really good deals. So I started doing that. I had a couple of 2 or 3 successful flips, and then I took kind of my profit. Then I started, okay, maybe I should hang on to a few of these. And so that's where I really started was hanging on to a few after a couple of flips.
Flipping them into rentals. What do we call that?
We call that the BRRRR method.
Yeah.
BRRRR, buy, rehab, rent, refinance,
never
repeat.
remember all the R's.
Yeah, it's a lot of them.
We've added R's.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've added some R's. So I think it's interesting that you said you started flipping in 2015. You were finding good deals. I would say, because, I've been doing this for 20 years in DFW, I would say you found good deals because of where you were, right? Which is important. Yeah. Location always matters. So where you are is now a hot spot.
Yeah.
In 2015, I would not have called it a hot spot. It was still almost considered the outskirts of our metroplex, right?
Yeah.
And now it's part of our metroplex, kind of like remember Plano
I've always
and
call
McKinney.
I always call it the line of suburbia was heading south, right? And so exactly.
So I think in Waxahachie you were able to get, especially Waxahachie, Ennis, maybe not as much Midlothian. In 2015, there were probably more plentiful there than they were for other people throughout DFW, because I know other people trying from 2008 to 2012 was really the key spot, right? Where you can get really smoking deals. And from then on is kind of where it started to go in the other direction. So really key that you were in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. That's for absolute. That's for sure. Yeah.
Good.
I'm almost curious when you wrote that 8% note, that seller financing note, what year was that?
Oh gosh. Yeah. Like I said, that was like 2014, 2015. That's back when
8% in 2014 was pretty good.
Yeah, it's not a bad deal.
Sounds normal today.
Well, it sounds normal, but that was kind of the thing. You could get a 3-4%.
Yeah.
But if not, shoot, like I said, I had stuff making 5%. So if it make it worth my while, it has to make more than 5%.
So it sounds like your journey from 1 to 12 involved a lot of reinvestment, right? So
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So did you use conventional financing? Did you pretty much use sounds like you rolled money from flips into rentals, but which is the way to do it.
Well, so I kind of had a cheat code, yes and no, sort of a cheat code. So kind of have to go further back into my past. I was involved in an unfortunate oil field accident. My left leg was crushed and surgically amputated.
Okay.
And so, I lost a leg, and it was hard. But the good thing is I was able to get a personal injury award settlement.
Okay.
So that gave me a lot of capital.
Got it.
And so I tried just being a trainer, and I was really successful. I ended up running the whole South Texas district for Neighbors Drilling for a little while in the training department. But then my wife got her PhD, and we moved up to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Well, that company had no contacts in this area. And so I was like, man, am I going to be a trainer? What's going on? And that's when I started talking to my friend, and he was like, hey, why not try getting involved in this?
You had
and
this
so,
lump of money doing the
yeah. And so that's where be it divine providence or whatever, I was fortunate enough to have the capital to kind of get a lot started at the beginning. And that's what really kind of got the ball rolling forward.
Well, you took something negative and made it a positive, right?
Yeah.
So
yep.
That's all you can do. So.
Yeah, because the negative was going to be there whether you liked it or not, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah, absolutely.
You got a financial reward from it, and then but you did something smart. Will, you did something that most people wouldn't know to do, right? And that is take this financial windfall, let's call it, that you've gotten, and figure out how to turn it into something bigger and better.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's a lot of people just squander that, right?
Yeah, so that was kind of like, you have that debate with yourself. And, it's kind of like, man, you kind of had an unfair start, and did you really earn it? And then you kind of answer that question really quick, right? It's like, well, no, a lot of people do get opportunities in different ways and they squander it. And so, I mean, I guess I can feel good that at least, I did do something positive with it instead of wasting the opportunity. So, but you go through a life-changing situation like that, it kind of opened your eyes to, it's like, man, all it takes is just one little moment to take away something valuable. And so it was just one of those things that opens your eyes, and you're like, man, I really need to have my eyes open to opportunities and make the most of what I have when I have it. Right.
Wow, that's the gold nugget right there, Kyle.
That's inspiring.
That is the gold nugget right there. You just nailed it. I love it. So kind of like people living like they're dying type of thing, but in your case, it's just like you appreciated you're able to appreciate the things that are presented to you and be able to take action on them, where most people hesitate.
Yeah,
because you appreciate the fact that you're even here to do that.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you something. If there is anybody here listening, right, I'm telling you, practicing gratefulness, right? First of all, just be grateful for what you have.
Wow.
And because no matter where you are financially or in your life, just take a moment to be grateful for, those that love you, what you have in your account. That is really the key to life is first, take a moment and be grateful.
Yeah.
We all have something to be grateful for, no matter where we are.
Yeah, I've been trying to practice that a lot lately myself. So that's very true.
It's hard to do when you are raising two little rugrats, isn't
it? Both ways. It also makes it easier.
There's moments when you're extremely grateful, and then there's moments when you're like,
yeah.
Yeah. That is such good wisdom, Jared. And one of the reasons why we like to do this with people is because everybody has a different, unique story that gets them here. They're not the same. They're never the same. And when we do this, we always learn something about people, right? Well, and it always reminds me that we sit here and try to set a path for people that you should do this, and then you do this, and then you go do that. And that's not how this works at all, is it? I mean, like, everybody's path is different. Some people are eased into it. Some people are forced into it. Some people are headlong into it, and some people are dragged into it. But whatever it is, you're able to appreciate the moment that you're here, why you're here, and take advantage of it. We're talking about real estate investing, but
of course, yeah.
But that applies to almost everything in your life, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Really. Yeah.
And your goals probably change too. So we like to show that these journeys can be real for real people, right? It's not just a fugazi that you hear online, right? You can really build a real estate portfolio. So you didn't just go from 1 to 12. So how did those goals change as you got the first one and started renting it to
that's
say
a great
5?
Question.
Yeah. So I was just. I didn't really have my plan at first was really I had a very short-term goal at first. It was just like, let's do this one flip, let's see if I can make some money, right? And then there's one time where I think I was doing 3 flips at once, and because I was like, okay, you do the math in your head, and it's like, okay, what's the timeline for a flip? And since I was kind of doing it myself with a makeshift crew, it was taking me 3 months. right? From beginning to end, from buying, closing to selling, closing, right? Because the rehab is just part of it, because once you get it under contract and to close, that's another, bit of time. And so you start realizing it's like, okay, realistically, there are 12 months in a year, right? You can do the math, 3 months, right?
You can only do 4
You
of
only
them.
do 4. And that's if
it's optimistic too.
That's also optimistic because this business tends to be seasonal. So your optimal time to put a house on the market is during what I call migration season, right? When people are changing schools, right? Families are moving. Typically when school starts, you lose a big, potential percentage of your buyers, because it's like, well, they're already settled, they're in school. There are still people buying, you just won't get as many. And so you try to really do as much as you can in that window from like February, March, all the way into like September.
And where the deals flow are different time periods.
Oh yeah, and actually
where the sales are,
where you pick up the sales are in that dead time.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
That's like where I find most of my good deals is like in the winter, or in the fall, winter, when it's harder to sell, right? Yeah. And so, then you realize, well, I need to do more than one at a time, right? Because that's now instead of selling 4 or 3, now you sell 6 because you're doing 2 flips at once. And then you realize that's hard work, right? And it's like, okay, maybe I should just hold on and start thinking about the future and retirement. It's like, okay, now you sort of think more long term. Okay, where am I going to be 5, 10 years? It's like, okay, maybe I should hang on to these, and then that's kind of where I've arrived at now. Now I'm not flipping hardly at all. Now I'm just I've gotten to a situation where I have enough to where I can, my wife helps, I do side jobs for my wife, and I'm able to sort of live off right now the 12 rental properties that I have.
Yeah. And I think people get caught up. It sounds like your goals are in line, because people sometimes get caught up in numbers as far as number of houses or how many they can get a year, all those things, where in reality, especially if you're looking at it from a retirement aspect, if you're getting 30-year notes on these things and you get 10 of them and in 30 years they're all paid off, the cash flow difference in 30 years is massively different than what you'd expect today.
Absolutely.
And that's I see that commonly get lost. I'm like, you can retire with 5 houses. I tell people that all the time. I'm like, you can. Depending on if you do it right, what the house is, but
and lifestyle choices.
Lifestyle choices. But I mean, if you even have, let's use easy numbers. One house, $2,000 a month, and you do 5 of those, that's $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
In 30 years, when they're all paid off, assuming there's a lot of other factors.
Yeah, you're maintaining the house.
We're simplifying it a little bit, but that's the way to look at it. You don't, people think they need a 100 home portfolio to retire off.
It's ambitious.
And I'm like, well, you can retire nice off that portfolio, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So,
but you're going to be living on rice and beans until then.
Yeah. But I mean, this far into your journey, I mean, we're about 10 years past what you said you initially started. Do you feel that do the numbers support that your initial investments, as far as the capital you got, reinvesting that, do you feel like you made the right choice with it?
Yeah, so I always kind of go back, it's like, dang, man, if, you think about, it's like, man, if I'd have just put all this in a total market index fund, would I be, as kind of the big art, that's a big debate, right? You go to total market index fund, and I bet there's the leverage and all that stuff. I go back and forth sometimes, but normally that's whenever I go through a hard time. It's like, dang it, you start kind of regret. But then there are the nice moments where it's like, hey, you look at how, the value increases, you get those little alerts from Zillow. It's like, hey, the value of house has increased X amount of dollars.
I haven't bought an AC unit in a while. And
yeah, exactly. And it's like, oh, the value of the home's increased, and you start seeing that the equity, that you built up and all that stuff. I don't know, man. It's also just self-efficacy, I think, knowing that I'm part of that. I did some of the work instead of just the money doing the work, and I'm just, sitting on my loan. This gives me a certain bit of satisfaction, especially when I was doing it myself.
And you have some control in the success and the failure of the entire thing.
Absolutely. So. And it does, whenever you do get that, 15% market correction, you're not, pulling your hair out.
Because it's a long-term play. Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, I'm very happy so far. I'm at that point where I'm like, I think halfway through my journey, where I'm still rolling over a lot of my like rental income back into the properties because I'm still trying to grow. Right,
Yeah.
I'm still in growth mode because ultimately, I know you said 5-10. A little bit more ambitious. I'd like to have 20 or 30.
There you go.
So if I can get 20 or 30 of these things, I'd be able to be comfortable and then that's when you put things in a trust. And anyways,
And then you go to Costa Rica and live off of it.
well, yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Wherever, yeah.
Wherever life takes you.
That's right.
Well, it's easy for me to bring up. So it's a stat I feel like I want to ask the question. When you came to us, you said you had 9 or 10. I think you had 9 and you were getting a 10th, if I remember right.
Yeah,
I
think it was probably closing on my 10th.
Did that change make it easier for you to grow, start growing your portfolio?
About the same.
Yeah.
What I'd like to brag about you guys is it's pretty seamless, right? And so
That's our goal.
It did nothing to impede my progress, right? I feel like you guys were able to sort of. I felt like we had a lot of similar styles. There were some things you did that were better, which I'm glad. There's a little bit of a growing pain because I was neglecting things because I was doing all myself. So we had to kind of catch up on some repairs, which needed to be done. And I'm so glad because, those things would have definitely gotten worse had you guys not stepped in and helped me out with that. And I think we even had to go through an eviction because there were some knuckleheads in one of my rental properties. But we were able to get all that stuff done, and I think that helped me. I'm in a much better situation I am now because we kind of went through those growing pains together. And so absolutely, it was a nice transition. You guys even helped me out, so I'm probably in a better position.
It's funny. I'm thinking about, like, we've had this conversation before, Kyle, about how, in the deferred maintenance realm, let's call it, where we've had investors, Will, that buy junker properties with tenants in them and then ride it out with that tenant and that junker property. And then when that property's vacant in 4, 5, 6 years, finally, you now still have a junker property that still needs to be rehabbed.
Big price tag.
And then they get, we've seen this over and over again. Then they get shell shocked or they forget that they bought a junker property. And then they're like, oh my gosh, we got to spend all these thousands of dollars. And what we've done is we've kind of created a system where we try to handle some of that deferred maintenance along the way as best as we can.
And you guys did a really good job on that. Yeah.
So that doesn't happen to you. Yeah. So.
No, and I meant that to be a compliment because, like I said, it was me probably neglecting it. And it was, I wouldn't say necessarily
it's hard to spend your own money, isn't it?
Well,
it's easier for us to spend your money than for you to spend your money.
I tell my wife all the time, I have no problem. It's easier spending money whenever that money makes you money. To me, I actually have a harder time spending money on something that doesn't make money. So my wife and I have that argument. It's like, you want to do this or a house renovation? That's not going to make me any money. So I'm actually happier spending money in this avenue. But I will say this house we're talking about, I mean, it was out of code by the time it was built. It was never brought up to code. And so anyways, so grateful because you guys have helped me out.
I do the same thing with my wife. I'm like, there are different things in my head. She's like, a sentence ago, you just told me how much you spent on this thing. I'm like, that was on a property. These are completely different things.
Yeah,
so I'm like, this is an expensive personal expense.
Yeah.
She's like, there's a zero missing from this one. I'm like, yeah, but it's not making me money. So.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, that's that whole. Yeah, I guess that my father owned his own business, so I kind of grew up sort of with an entrepreneurial, I guess, idea, and so I've always been kind of
debits and credits,
and conservative with your money. You don't spend money on yourself. You live frugal, and any money you make, you try to roll over into your own business. And it's just like, hey, let's be okay. I've got the same truck I've had for 10 years. Like I'm gonna drive until the wheels fall off. You see all these all my buddies, they've got this, all these brand new cars, and you think in your head, man, that's a depreciating asset. What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yep, that is definitely it. We started this with a horror story, and I hate to bring up another one,
That's
but
all right.
you have some good anecdotal ones for people to hear. It, it, I know you have. I'm gonna ask the question. Have you had any negative experiences from not diversifying a location?
Not really. I mean, not diversifying. I guess so. To me, I have this fear of, man, if I'm too far away, like, because I'm still in the mindset of doing it myself, and I'm also not knowledgeable, right? I haven't gotten quite comfortable now flipping. It's interesting. I had no problem, and my worst experience ever was up in Garland. I had a really bad experience where a stray firework set my flip property on fire. Yeah, so that was. We'll have to talk about that if you want, but
he has more than I even knew about.
Yeah, oh yeah, and that's a whole but no, I guess I just have this. I don't know if it's a fear of diversifying it, and it has more to do with not being not intimately knowledgeable of what's a good deal, because in Waxahachie and Ellis County is like I know where the good areas are. I know the neighborhoods really well. And so
that comes from experience.
Mm-hmm, right.
Because you mentioned that. It's really smart. People should listen to that. That's a good nugget also. They're like here in Mansfield, we have two specific neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
In Mansfield that I know really well because I've been working in this market for 20 years. And I know when somebody tells me that they have, I'm not going to say the names of the neighborhood, but they have a house in one of those neighborhoods.
Yeah, sure.
I know I could be looking at any one of 5 different types of houses, right? With 5 different values, depending on when it was built, what part of the neighborhood it's in, right? Whether it's on the north side of this street or the south side of that street or whatever, right? But most people from out of the area would just do a search of that neighborhood and make a determination. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of what you're talking about. There's other ways where market knowledge can help you, but I just use that as an example. And that's kind of what, if that ever bites you in the butt, and this bit me in the butt too, working out of the area, then you just have to be really cognizant of that. And maybe sometimes use somebody that's got that market knowledge, like, hey, Jared, Waxahachie really well. What do you think about this neighborhood?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, Jared. I mean, Will.
That's okay. Okay. That's all right. Just don't call me late for supper.
Well, I guess we have to explain that I've been calling Jared.
Yeah.
Will,
so it is my first name, but I go forever. I've been going by my middle name because everyone misspells my name, says it wrong. I've been called Jared, Harat, so it's like just go by this Will. It's easier. But anyways.
Well, and what I was getting at, Will, was something I hope you don't mind me bringing up, but
go for it.
It's something that it's a horror story because it would discourage a lot of investors. And you took the other aspect. You got hit by Mother Nature.
Oh, yeah. Hailstorm. Yes, sir.
Hailstorm hit a whole bunch of your properties in the worst way it probably could, right? Like total horror story of getting completely pelted all at once with a bunch of your rentals, right? This is something where even half of that could happen to one investor building a portfolio and be like, oh my gosh, this is too much.
Yeah, I had to take out insurance claims on every single one except one. My house, and this is before I picked up the one in Midlothian, but it was the one over in Ennis that didn't get hit. But yeah, 10 insurance claims. And I tell you, it was rough, man. It was like baseball size hail. 100 miles an hour.
Yeah,
I tell you, it was like 3 a.m. and it's, you ever play Super Mario, that little turtle guy that throws hammers at you? It's like someone was out there throwing hammers at the side of my house. It was bad. It was really bad.
Well, that's now the downside to what Kyle's probably getting to of not being diversified in your location.
No, it's mainly, it wasn't saying it was a negative necessarily. It is something to consider very rare occurrence, right? But they were very isolated and they all got hit by a very somewhat isolated hailstorm, right?
Right.
They're not usually that bad. It's definitely the worst hail damage we've ever had at properties. And I remember talking to the contractors and everything, and they're like, how many owners are involved in this? I'm like, this is just one.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we had one other property that got hit, but the majority of them were all yours, right? And it's like, wow, that was unlucky. But what I was getting at is you turned that into a positive, right? You're still here sitting with us, like saying that you want to grow that portfolio.
Of course.
You didn't throw your hands up. So
no, we had to pull a little bit out of investments and stuff, but yeah, we tough times happen. You got to grit your teeth and you got to keep moving forward.
That could have been overwhelming, to Kyle's point, right?
Yeah.
Like some people would just, like you said, throw your hands up and oh, I can't deal with this, too much stress, and you just systematically dealt with it, right?
Yeah.
In a very kind of.
And you guys were helping. You all helped me out a lot too, because there were some months I wasn't able to kind of catch up, and so you guys were very graceful and helping me out with that too, because finding cash and having to pull cash from here to there. And stuff. So that was kind of that's one area where having a good property manager helps, because having a partner that can kind of guide you to that. Because I had several questions, about the insurance claims process, because whenever you're dealing with so many properties and it was very, very helpful, and you guys are knowledgeable, and you'll help me through that. And also, you helped me out, I didn't necessarily have all those all that repair money. So, you guys were patient with me. So that was really nice.
And I appreciate that. That's not why I was bringing it up, right?
I know, but I also want to give you your flowers, though, because I know, I'm pretty sure there are some people who would probably be a little bit more cutthroat, and you guys were understanding. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and that was pretty. I wouldn't say that was too far into our relationship either. It was, I was like, it was new for us too. I'm like, this is unlikely to happen, and you're dealing with it as well as you can.
Yeah,
so
because
it's good to see that you didn't get taken advantage of in the insurance claims. 10 insurance claims can go a lot of different ways.
Yeah, so. and like I said, I could have thrown my hands up, but it impacted you guys as well, because your crews, I'm sure, were busy, and you guys were. I'm pretty sure I was not the only client that was impacted.
Yep.
And so I'm sure, you guys have pluses and minuses too. Money come in, you got to pay your guys. So
we had an awning come off of a commercial building in that same storm and fly into an adjacent apartment building and take out, there's my throat again, take out 3 AC units and a fence.
Oh, awesome.
Remember that?
That was
great.
The unlikeliness of that storm, but
that storm was
sometimes
intense.
that's life. Sometimes the storm just comes through and wrecks your world, and you got to deal with it. So, but you can come out of that on the other end and get back to what you're doing and everything. So that's what inspired me. Is I was like, you didn't take that as like, this is a building rental portfolios. This is going to happen
sell
again.
everything. Yeah,
because you can look at it positive, right? You just got a little assistance on 10 new roofs, right?
Yeah, roofs, vinyl siding, and
a forced reinvestment in the property, right?
Pretty much.
So when Mother Nature comes through again, it'll fight it off a little better.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't have softball size next time.
I'm telling you, man. Golly, it was ridiculous.
So
I want to throw one more, or I just want to ask you one more thing. We've learned how you got started, how you went through your process, and I think we have a good understanding of what your future goals are.
Yeah.
And you've given us some really cool nuggets here, right? About not just investing, but how to live your life and perspectives on life.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything else that you would like to share with us that you would share with somebody thinking about getting into real estate investing?
Well, I think it's kind of common what most people will tell you. It still involves work, but it's rewarding. But it's not. You're still going to have to get your hands dirty a little bit. And it's still some work, but doing it's a good way to. It's a good place to put your money. It's a good place. It's a good thing to do. But just make sure you do your research, make sure you know what you're doing. You certainly can, do it yourself. Property management, companies are good ways to go about it as well. But ultimately, it is a good way to make money. And I don't know. For me, it gave me good self-efficacy. It's something I could still do and feel pride and something I grew myself, right?
That's a good word. I like that. It's because you're looking at your portfolio, even if you didn't throw a hammer, you still look at a portfolio as something you built and grew.
Yeah.
Right? Like
yeah.
some of these things you actually threw hammers on, and you've told us some stories about what you've done. But then you have some other ones that you haven't put a finger on, but you still feel invested in that because you took advantage of the opportunity. You went, did the deal, closed on it.
Yeah.
You took all the steps that it took for that to become a asset that rewarded your wealth.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And that is what gives you pride, I would imagine.
Yeah. And I guess the biggest, or the one thing that comes to mind is kind of like tending a garden, It's just like you fertilize, you take care, you till, you trim, you prune, and it's like you feel pride. You yield your crop, you yield your fruit, right? And but it's not something that you can just sit and forget. But maybe it's because I have agriculture in my family history, but growing up tending a garden or harvesting little garden crops or whatever. There's a reward in seeing your work come to fruition like that, and you get some like pride, right? It makes you feel good about yourself that you did something and it succeeds,
Especially over time, once you see it and you're like, well, I did that. So, it didn't just show up out of nowhere. And does it give you a sense of security too? A lot of times we do this to protect our families, and I hope it gives you that security as well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
All right. Well, this is a great conversation, Will. We appreciate you coming in and telling your story. It's really inspiring. And
thanks for the opportunity.
Always good to show that we can all do this, right? You just got to put your mind to it.
That's the biggest thing, isn't it? Like, that's what the biggest thing about sharing these stories, Will, is I always hope it inspires people when they realize, hey, my story's similar, or I could do that also, or if this guy did that, he's not much different than me.
Right.
Everyone looks at these people that have a bunch of houses as like, oh, they got, I don't know, they got something I don't have. I could never do that. When in reality, when they hear the stories, they realize everybody could do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it starts with one, right? You didn't go out and buy 12 houses.
No.
You bought one.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what it started with. And so, anyways, I didn't mean to.
We call planting the seed.
Planting the seed.
Of your real estate forest.
His agriculture.
I know.
His agriculture analogy gave me another idea too. So future idea for a future podcast.
He's going to cliffhanger that.
There you go.
Future podcast.
All right. Well, if you want to hear that idea, tune in again. Give us a call, 817-818-9039. Shoot us an email at showmethemoney@wearetpm.com. We appreciate you coming in, Will, and discussing with us. And we have a fist bump.